about making your content prolific is you have to increase your own personal teachability index. Now, the first time I ever heard this, and I've only heard it once, was this dude named Kevin Trudeau. And Kevin's in jail right now for doing a lot of shady things. So don't follow everything Kevin said. But he had this one product called Your Wish is Your Own Command or something like that. And I went through it. And one thing that was really good that I got from that was powerful was he talked about teachability index. He said if you look at most people, he said that when they're kids, right, your teachability index is high. Like I've got 4 kids right now. My wife's got number 5 on the way right now. And my kids are teachable, right? I share anything and they just, like sponges, they soak it up. Okay, most of us are very teachable through elementary school and then junior high and then high school. And then some of us go to college and you're learning all this stuff and you love it. And then what happens the second you get your diploma? For almost everyone I know in this world, they get their diploma, they have the little hat on their head, and boom, their teachability disappears overnight. Because they're educated, because they have a degree, they know everything, and they're no longer teachable. Okay? This is where I struggle the most when I try to help people. Like right now, it's funny, like with this whole life hacking thing. Like I'm doing some crazy stuff that's having huge, dramatic impacts on my weight and on my energy and on my physiology and all these things. And as I share them with people, everyone just like shuts down because nope, I don't believe it. Nope, that's against everything I've ever heard in the past. Nope, and they won't listen. And so because of that, they're not getting all this amazing stuff that could change their life. Okay, now the problem you're gonna have as an expert is you've got this core set of things in your mind right now that are your belief patterns. Okay, and the problem with that, those things are good. That's what's gonna lead your content and lead you moving forward. But you have to become teachable because if you don't become teachable, then you're gonna miss out on so many cool things. And so what I'd recommend doing is, and this ties into your Dream 100, this ties into your podcast and you're interviewing people, is you need to start making it a point right now that if you're going to be an expert in this industry, you've got to open your mind and be open to new ideas and new thoughts that are completely against what you may even think are possible right now. Okay. I know for me, like my teachability index was very, very low. After I launched my business, I was making money and all of a sudden like I thought I knew everything and my teachability index went to almost 0. Right. And it wasn't until I went to a Tony Robbins event and he started sharing some things with me and at first I really resisted. I'm like, nope, this guy's crazy. And I remember after a little while, and a big part of it is because I respected Tony. A lot of times we may not respect somebody, so it's easier for us to say no to him. But because I respected him so much, I was like, you know what? For the last day, I keep like shutting down everything he's been saying. And I feel like I'm missing out on some of the benefit of this. And what I'm going to do for the next day or half, 2 days is instead of saying no to every concept he throws out there, I'm going to change it from no to what if. Just that little shift, okay? Because no, as soon as you say no, everything shuts down. If I say what if, then it opens up this cool exploration where I say, what if that was possible? What if that actually did work? What if? And he started sharing things. I'd say, what if? And some things after I would run through and I test them in my head and I would try things out, I would say I don't like that or I don't believe in that part of it. But other things opened up whole worlds of opportunities to me, whole new things that I never even dreamt and thought about were possible. Really interesting. So for you guys, is in your area of expertise, it's very, very important to become teachable and to go and try to get knowledge from as many places as you can. Read books, podcasts, interview people, all these things. And instead of saying no when they bring new ideas to the table, say what if and see what happens. And I promise you do that, your mind will expand, your content will become more prolific, you'll be able to help more people, you'll be able to help them in unique ways that weren't even possible to you a little while ago, let alone to the rest of the world. Okay, so it's very important, you guys, to become very, very, very teachable. All right. And then after hearing Kevin Trudeau's teachability index, I invented my prolific index. So this is all mine. This is how my prolific index works, okay? Here is the prolific index. Now, we all know the crazy people, right? There's dudes that are crazy, right? Over here on both sides of the spectrum. And in the middle, there's like mainstream. This is stuff you learn in school. Okay. Now I want to tell you, the mainstream stuff that you learn in school, there's no money in it. Okay. If I can learn accounting at school, I'm not going to be able to make money with it online. Okay. It's not going to happen. Now, if you go to the edges, over here is crazy. Okay. Now crazy is good because it's polarity, all those kind of things. But on the edge of crazy, nobody's going to give you any money. Do you know why? Because they think you're crazy. Okay, so it's very important to understand. Mainstream, no one's giving you money. Crazy, no one's giving you money. But there's this little spot right in between mainstream and crazy that's where you start making money. That's where people will pay you for your ideas and pay you for your expertise on both directions here, okay? So for you got to understand that up to this point in your life, for a lot of you guys, you've gone through mainstream traditional learning, right? You went to school, you got a degree, you got education, you've been studying this stuff, you've been using it, and now you're an expert. But the problem is you're an expert in very mainstream stuff, and there's no money in the mainstream. Okay, so it's time for you to open up your teachability index, start looking for new ideas, new thoughts, and new things, and start venturing towards the crazy side. Now, don't go to crazy. If you go all the way to crazy, you miss the whole point. But that's where you start getting ideas that are different, that are prolific, that'll get people to think and get people to respond. Okay, I go back to Bulletproof Executive because I think Dave is a perfect example of this. Right, mainstream is what do you got? You got your food pyramid or 4 food groups, right? You have your wheats and your vegetables and your this and that, and, right? That's mainstream, right? Then on the side over here, you got insane people who like literally. I bought a DVD called I think it's called sun gazing, and it's these people who live out like in Africa and they just look at the sun all day. They don't eat. They haven't eaten in like years. They just look at the sun and they say all nutrients you can get are from the sun. Okay. Maybe it's true, maybe it's not, but it's on the crazy side. No one's gonna give you money if you say, hey, never eat again, just look at the sun. A little bit too crazy. But in the middle there, where all of a sudden Dave finds out, hey, all this wheat stuff is really, really bad for you. You read Wheat Belly, or you look at the Atkins diet, or you look at something that's really, really bad. Okay, and you look at fats are actually really, really good for you. Okay, and all these things are happening, and all of a sudden you move away from the mainstream, from here's the food pyramid, to venturing towards crazy. But you stop in the middle where it's prolific, where people are like, wow, this is a new idea. It's something I haven't even considered before. Let me test it. And they test it, they get a result, and they want to dig deeper into that. And that's where the money's at, you guys. So if your content is very, very important for you to understand that and to be willing to kind of venture away from the mainstream, because there's not going to be money there. Okay. One of our students right now, we've been struggling, is she's in accounting and she's trying to sell accounting stuff. I'm like, that's mainstream. No one's gonna do that. Like, and then you got like, so here's accounting over here. Here's like crazy tax stuff that gets you thrown in jail on the crazy side. But there's a sweet spot in the middle there where it's tax savings and it's how to lower your, what you pay the government, like how to do trust funds and whatever, all that stuff right there. That's like the prolific spot. That's where people will pay you money, because it's not what they learned in school and it's not crazy. Okay, so there's your prolific index. One guy at our last event asked me, said, well, how crazy is too crazy? And I said that when they stop giving you money, you're probably off the deep end. So yeah, hopefully that makes sense, you guys. But you do have to kind of stretch outside of your comfort zone a lot of times. Okay, this kind of comes back to the whole thing I talked about, neutrality and polarity. Okay, neutrality right here. If you're neutral in the middle here, there's not much money. But when you're polar, that's where the money's at. Okay. All right. Let me see where we are at. All right, cool. Okay, so the next thing we'll talk about is your funnel. Now, I kind of struggled when I was putting this presentation together, because I did a presentation a while ago. It was another long one. It was another master class like this. I think it ended up being at 4 hours long. And I shared all of the different funnels that we use in our business. And there are like 9 different types of funnels. I talked about front-end funnels, back-end funnels, middle funnel, all sorts of stuff. And part of me wanted to really share all that stuff with you guys right now. But I think, again, if the goal of this, if the premise when I got started was let's show you guys a system that'll get you from starting to cash the fastest, it's not going to be showing you guys a whole bunch of different types of funnels. Now, in the future, after you're making money, like with Liz right now, we're coming back and saying, now what's the next kind of funnel you should add to this thing? But for right now, to serve you guys the most, I'm not going to share with you guys everything, because I don't think that's what you need. I think you need what's going to be the fastest path to cash. Let's focus on that, and then we can move on, right? So with your funnels, there's a lot of kind of funnels. Okay, and if you guys have ever gone through training with me before, you've probably heard me talk about a value ladder. Okay, here's the value ladder. On the left-hand axis here, we've got our value, and the right-hand side, we've got our price. Now, ideally, up here at the top, this is where we provide the most amount of value for people, and where they're paying us the most amount of money. Okay, so for my business right now, we have got, we've got 2. We've got a $25,000 inner circle program. That's our top of our value ladder. We actually have one higher than that. It's a $1 million program where people pay $100,000 down, then 10% of their income up to $1 million. So we have a $1 million program. But for argument for this, I'm going to talk about my $25,000 program. Okay, so here it is right here. Now, my question for you guys is if you never met me before, never heard from me, and I walk up to you off the street and I'm like, hey, my name is Russell. I love the internet. I love making money on it. I'm pretty good at it. If you give me $25,000, I'll help you turn your idea into a sustainable business. How many of you guys would say yes? Okay, a couple. Stanzik would say yes because that's what he did. Now look at him, super successful. But most people are gonna say no. They're gonna say, "Are you crazy? Like, you provided no value to me. How do I know you're not legitimate, right?" Okay, most people are gonna say no to that. So what we do is we have to create a value ladder. We're down here, we give them some value, and they try it, they test it out. If they receive value, then they're gonna want to naturally ascend up the value ladder. And if they receive value at this level, they're gonna want to move up again. If they receive value here, they can keep moving up, and then keep moving up this value ladder. Okay, so that's kind of what a value ladder is. And so if you look at, like, in our business, we have a very mature value ladder. I got a lot of products and services with a goal of moving somebody up this value ladder, right? And so, for example, let's say I have a book called .com Secrets Labs. It's a free book we give away. And somebody buys it, they get it for free, but they pay shipping and handling. They get this book. It's like, I don't know, 140 pages of all my split tests. And if they read that, they're like, wow, this is awesome stuff. I can't believe Russell shared this for free. What else has he got? And then a few days later, they get a call from someone on my team and they're like, hey, did you like this? How'd you like to join Russell's Ignite program? It's $10,000 and you get this, this, and this. And because they receive value, now for them to say yes to the next thing is not that difficult. Okay? And it's easy now to send them up if they're receiving value at every step along the way. Okay? So that's the value ladder. Now, I'm gonna skip through this because I don't think it's important for what we're doing right now. So here's our value ladder, right? Now, in this value ladder, there's different types of funnels. There's front end funnels, middle value ladder funnels, back end funnels. So different funnels we use. And so again, that other presentation I gave, which some of you guys may have seen it already, goes through all these, right? What's a free plus shipping funnel? What's a self-liquidating offer funnel? What's a perfect webinar funnel? What's an invisible funnel? What's a product launch funnel? What's a high ticket funnel? What's a black box funnel? Continuity funnel? Micro continuity funnel? Okay, we covered all of those. And again, what I want to do for the sake of this training, though, is I want to focus on just one funnel, the funnel that's going to get you to make cash the fastest, the funnel that ascends somebody up the value ladder the fastest, and that's the perfect webinar. Okay, the perfect webinar is nice because somebody registers for a free webinar. It doesn't cost them any money. They come on this webinar presentation. You educate them, you train them, you give them a bunch of really good stuff, and after that process is over, then you offer them a product, and you're offering a $25,000 product, but usually you're offering something from $300 to $1,000. And in a 60 to 90 minute presentation, you can give enough value that somebody will give you, $300 to $1,000. And so that's what I'm going to be focusing on right now. Okay. Now, long term, my goal with you guys is to get you guys into my Ignite program or get you guys into my inner circle. And when we do that, then my goal is help you build out front ends and back ends and continuities, all these other things. But for right now, I just want you guys making money as quick as possible. Okay. And so that's why we're focusing for this whole training on the perfect webinar. All right. So the perfect webinar. Now, this is, I want to preface this because this is not something that I just made up. This is not something that is also not specifically 100% something that I invented. I started going through this process, and I remember the very first time I gave a presentation, I went and spoke, and it was a horrible. I spoke and nobody bought. It was embarrassing, and I hated it. And I did it again, and after that, I said I will never speak again, and it was painful. And then I started going through this process where I saw people making insane amounts of money with it. I literally saw people who would go and speak at an event. They would close some sales and then make 100 grand, 200 grand, 300 grand from one 90-minute presentation. And I got so angry. I'm like, I have to figure this out. There's got to be a way. Like, if these guys can do it, I've got to be able to figure it out. They're not that much smarter than me. At least I don't think. And I got to figure it out. So I started going to all these different public speaking trainings, and there's a whole bunch of people I could credit for really showing me all these things. But this webinar script is basically, it's 10 years of testing and trying. It's me doing this with selling probably at least 30 different products in multiple different niches. It's been tested. This is the exact same script that Liz used. It's the same script that everyone who's learned webinars from me has used. And if you guys do it, it'll just work. It makes you a ton of money. Okay. So here is what the actual script looks like. And again, I drew it out like this so that it'd be very easy for you guys to see and to visualize and to be able to and to be able to have and be able to kind of model. Okay, so if you're taking notes, and I hope you are, I want you to get out a pad of paper right now, and I'm going to be going through this whole thing because if nothing else, everything we covered so far is creating a product, finding your dream 100, things that are important. But this is the key. If this works, then you can make insane amounts of money. If it doesn't work, this is kind of like the tipping point, right? If your presentation converts, you can make insane amounts of money. If it doesn't work, then you're kind of stuck. Okay, and just to kind of like put this in perspective, and this is what I told Liz when we first started going through this with her. I said, look, you're going to create a webinar. You're going to go out there. You're going to start driving traffic. And one or two things are going to happen. One, it doesn't convert, and then you've got to create a new webinar or a new way to pitch it or something. But I'm like, but if it does convert, this is what happens, okay? If you create a webinar that works, and you say, hey, I spent $1 on Facebook and I made $5 back, right? Or something like that, like kind of like what's happening to Liz right now. She's got a webinar that's converting. As soon as that works, your Dream 100, all those people we talked about before are going to be banging on your door to promote this. Okay, we've literally done webinars where I will do a webinar like this. One of my partners will promote it to their list. We'll get someone. We'll get maybe 500 to 1,000 to 2,000 people to register for this webinar. They'll show up. I'll do this pitch and I follow it to a T. You guys, I never deviate from this because it just works. Like every piece, I'll go through this. Every piece I've learned from different people, and I keep adding it, tweaking it. And it's gotten to this point now where I don't know if I can improve upon this. Maybe somewhere in the future I'll be able to find something, but for right now, this is the magic script. It just works, okay? And so if your presentation works, your Dream 100 will come banging on your door because, again, like I said, someone will go and we'll get 500, 1,000, 2,000 people on a webinar. I'll do this pitch. At the end of it, I'll sell a $1,000 product, and we'll sell 50, 60, 70 units at $1,000 a piece. And from one 90-minute presentation, I might make $70,000, $80,000, $90,000. And I'll give half of it to the person who promoted the webinar, and I keep the other half. Okay. Now I know for some of you guys that those numbers don't make any sense for me. I know it made no sense for me when I got started. I remember after I'd been doing this for a little while, I kind of got used to it. My dad came and visited me. That's probably 6 or 7 years ago, and he came in and he sat in my office when I was doing a webinar, just kind of watched me do it. And I did this whole pitch, and at the end of it, I closed some sales. And I remember like I kind of screwed it up. I didn't follow the script quite perfectly, and I made like I don't know $15,000 or $20,000. I remember being really upset. And my dad and I went to dinner afterwards, and I was just like, man, I was like kind of embarrassed and frustrated. And my dad's like, are you upset with that? I was like, yeah, like that's like not, I usually do a lot better than that. He's like, Russell, do you realize that in 90 minutes worth of work, you just made $15,000? He's like, I need to put this in perspective for you. He's like, a teacher will work 6 months out of the year to make $15,000. Okay, he's like, in my business is what it takes. And in starting in all these industries, he's like, you did that in 90 minutes. He's like, you could do that again tomorrow if you wanted to. He's like, you don't understand, like what you just did is crazy. And so for me, like a lot of times those numbers, again, when I first got started, they were exciting. And then now I almost take them for granted. And so I want you guys to understand that crazy stuff like this is possible. And this is the way to do it. And so anyway, that's kind of the preface to this. So the reason why I call it perfect webinar is because I've literally been doing webinars and stage presentations for, man, it's getting pretty dang close to 10 years. So about a decade, but not quite that long. And I tell you that learning how to do this the right way was not necessarily an easy process. It was way different than I thought, and I learned a lot along the way. So I want to just shortcut you guys and just give you the template and the script for what I think is the perfect webinar. So that way, the first time out of the gate, or maybe not the first, but as close to the first time out of the gate, you can have a perfect webinar that you can get on and you can sell people and make some money really, really quickly. I honestly think one of the fastest ways to make money on the internet is to do a webinar. Like if you said, hey Russell, I need you to make $100,000 tomorrow, or else I'm gonna kidnap your family, I would put together a webinar. Like that would be it. And so I'm gonna show you guys kind of go through everything that I've learned over the last 10 years to do these, and then I'm going to actually show you how I did this here with one of my webinars I did recently called High Ticket Secrets. A lot of you guys were on that webinar, and so you'll kind of see this madness in action, how the whole thing kind of worked together. So that is the game plan. Now, basically, when I first learned about this, so I was dabbling on the internet I began probably about 12 years ago or so. And I was learning some stuff, and it took me about 2 years before I was making any money, and I started growing. And I was having a bunch of fun, and about the time I saw this guy doing this internet marketing seminar. Now, I'd never been to an internet marketing seminar before, but for me at the time, I was like, I was kind of like this lonely kid. They always say that being an entrepreneur is like the loneliest job in the world because nobody really understands what you do or who you are or why you're so passionate about these crazy ideas, right? I'm sure some of you guys probably feel that way. Am I right? Okay, being an entrepreneur is lonely, and that's how I was. And I was like, man, there's going to be all these people who actually do what I do and care about this stuff that are going to be together in one room. I want to go to it. It was $2,000. It was super expensive for me at the time, but I paid. I went out to this event. And it was really cool. I had a chance to meet some awesome people, and was one of the coolest